Hi everybody, it's Alex Newton from K-lytics, today with another episode of Your Questions Answered. How to find Kindle categories for my nonfiction project. This was a question by a K-lytics member who's doing a gluten-free diet book, and we're going to use this as a case study to answer the question. I usually recommend these 3 steps or phases, they are more, to go about this. First is a keyword-based approach, then an elimination-based approach, and then you have to apply some final criteria to narrow down the list of categories to the final ones you want to apply to your book. Sounds complicated, but it isn't. Okay, let's take the keyword approach. That's approach A. First, step 1, make a list of single words that narrowly describe the subject or genre of your book. What I mean with this is you think about it as if there was a Kindle category just for your book, what word would appear in that Kindle category? So if you had a book about Chinese vineyard snails, you would certainly look for the word snails. In this case, for a gluten-free diet book, let's look at gluten and let's look at allergy or allergies, because that's or sensitivities could also be one, or irritable bowel syndrome. But let's stick for gluten and allergies here for the case study. Now, broader terms such as diet or nutrition, cooking, these will fit, but they will turn up a whole long list of categories, and that we will say for approach B, where we take a broad approach and then narrow down from the broad approach. This step 1 is about starting small. Then you go to the K-lytics Elite database in your members area. This works both for the Elite and the Premium database. Elite obviously will render more results because it goes down to 3,000 subcategories. Premium will only search for about 425 subcategories. And here in the Elite database, you have both data sets, so it will search both subcategories and subcategories. Let's now search the category path. By category path is meant this hierarchy of category, subcategory, subcategory that you have for any given ebook on Kindle. And in the K-lytics database, this first field here describes the whole category path. So in here, we're gonna go for text filter. Text contains what? Gluten. And click OK. And here we have it, one that fits perfectly: cookbooks, food and wine / special diet / gluten-free. Step 3 is to mark fitting categories. We type an X in the column custom to mark our selection. Here you see this column here. It's called custom for your custom project. So you go here, double click on it, and you make a small caps X to mark the category so we can save it for later. So we see here this category has about 4 to 5 copies of average sales in the top 20. The number 1 title in the category, however, scores about 75 titles per day, which is very good. Then there's info about the price, pretty healthy price level. The competition is, well, medium, 2,600 titles in fiction. This would obviously be a niche. Overall, it's a slow niche, so it is a niche. Is it super high performing? No, but it works. But let's see what else we get. The next step is we do repeat step 2 and 3 for the other keywords, and each time we mark the selection with an X in the custom column. So again, we click here on that filter button. So this time we go for a contains, well, not gluten. This time we go for allergy, just taking here at the beginning because it could be allergy or allergies. And there are another 2 of them here. One I marked already, and then here an X for this one: physical ailments, allergies, and also one in nutrition. Step 5, once you've done this for all your narrowly defining search words, review your list. You do this by clearing all filters from the category path, and then you set the filter to this X to filter for the categories that you marked. So this is very easy. Here in the tool, click on the filter, then clear the filter from the subcategory path. This again will show now all the subcategories. You go here to the custom one, and then here you set the filter, not the text filter, filter. You click on it and you can see you deselect everything, and then or just deselect the blanks, which leaves you with the ones that are marked with an X. This gives you your approach A, those 4 categories here, which you later can review. Now, as we've seen, one of these are, is selling at least like 4 or 5 copies a day. The other ones are pretty slow, however, as you see. So there's an approach that can help in such cases to uncover categories that are more broadly defined for your book. And rather taking this narrow view, you should at least select one of these categories because they really fit your book, right? Such as the one here, cookbooks, food and wine, special diet, gluten-free. But what should be other ones that may be higher selling, not quite as fitting, but probably better for exposure and sales? So let's broaden the selection of possible categories by using what I call the elimination approach. Also, this approach is very simple but takes a little bit longer. Essentially, we look at all the 30 main categories and we eliminate those ones that are not relevant, but keep all the other ones that could be relevant. Then we go to the next level, subcategories of the remaining subcategories. And again, we eliminate those that don't fit and leave those that, fit somehow. And then we do the same for the next level down. First, let's clear all filters. In this case, we only have one in the custom column with our X's. So you click on the filter button here and go clear filter from custom. In this case, I'm also reloading the page because I haven't been interacting for a while. So do it again, clear all the filters from custom. Note that the X's are still set, so later we can filter for the work. Then we explode the column view to show individual category path components using that plus sign at the top of the tool. So look here, currently this first column here that shows the complete category path in one field. If you click the plus sign here, it will decompose the category path into its individual components: category, subcategory, sub-subcategory. Now we use a filter on the column category. That is the main 30 Kindle categories, and we use, as you will see in a second, filter, not the text filter, but a selection filter to select all categories that could fit your book. So now you take a broader approach. So in here, click on category, and now not using the text filter here, but this filter. This gives me a pop-up window here with all the categories. Usually what I do is I deselect everything, and now I reselect the ones here. So I've eliminated everything. I can also do the other approach, have everything selected and then deselect stuff. In this case, starting with the category, I do it this way. And going through it, I would say, well, the book certainly would fit in cookbooks, food and wine. Crafts, hobbies and home, probably not so much. But here, health, fitness and dieting. Certainly a medical topic, gluten-free and allergies and that sort of stuff. You could even argue reference books. It could be in parenting and relationships if there are books about, babies or kids with allergies. I'll leave science for now. Maybe there could be books in biology, but that doesn't sell so well. Could do self-help. I'll leave that aside for now. So we have 5 major branches: cookbooks, health, fitness, medical, parenting, and reference books. And in all those, there may be hidden sub categories that can fit the book and that perform well. So click OK. And now you see we have here a whole list of remaining categories, subcategories, and sub-subcategories. And immediately you see there will be some that have to do with gluten-free or where gluten-free books may fit. Then we move to step 4 and we do the same on the subcategory filter. So you use the filter to, in this case, deselect, that is, eliminate any subcategories, and there was a typo here, subcategories that do not fit. So in the tool, we've made the selection on the categories. Now we see, there, if you go for a filter on the subcategories, you see now there is a whole list of pre-selected ones. And now we're going to eliminate those where the books definitely won't fit. So probably not in addiction, administration, adoption, no, aging parents. well, if they have food insensitivities. Health professions, potential, almanac and yearbooks, no. But here, alternative and holistic, we'll leave that. Alternative medicine that works. Atlases and maps, not. Baking, definitely. Basic science, no. Beauty, probably not. Canning, preserving, probably not. Catalogs, directories, could be, but yeah, not very close. Consumer guides, no. Cooking by ingredient, definitely. Counseling, no. Culinary arts and techniques, perhaps. Death, no. Dentistry, no. Dictionaries, no. Diets, and so on and so forth. You know, quickly work yourself through the list. So diseases, clearly. Diseases, physical ailments. Drinks and beverages, probably not. Education, no. Encyclopedias, probably not. Etiquette, no. And so on and so forth. We leave exercise and fitness for now. Family activities, no. But health, yes. Relationships, no. Fertility, no. I'm just going to finish this here quickly for you. So once you have the remaining subcategories that may fit, click OK. And this will now have further narrowed down the selection of possible categories. So logically, we do the same step again on the subcategory filter, where we use the filter to deselect, that is, eliminate any subcategories that do not fit in this remaining list now. So you see in the tool, we have a filter on the categories here, on the subcategories. Now we do subcategories, and the filter will only show those ones that remain in the list. You know, it's not too long, and you can work yourself through and see what fits. So obviously ab workouts, not abdominal. That's probably for exercising. Acupuncture, no. Aerobics, no. AIDS, probably not. But here allergies we leave in. Alternative therapies, certainly. Alzheimer, no. I see a no. Appetizers, yeah. Aromatherapy, no. And you see this type of approach will give you a much broader set of potential categories. Baby food, yeah, could be bread, definitely breakfast, cakes, gluten-free, absolutely. Cancer, cardiology, cardiovascular, probably not. Cheese and dairy, no. Children's health, definitely could fit here. Chiropractic, no. Chocolate, no. Well, dairy-free would fit. Chocolate, certainly. Gluten-free, I don't know, probably not. Chronic fatigue syndrome, yeah, because some people are chronically fatigued because of their diets and wheat insensitivities. Chronic pain, probably not. Here, contagious disease, no. Cookies, yeah, why not? Cooking for one, could be. Critical intensive care, no. You see how it works, and very quickly you work yourself through the list and deselect those that you don't want to have. Now we mark your selection with X's. You do this by marking the first line with an X in the custom column and then using Control-C for copy and Control-V paste. Mark all other visible lines, that is subcategory paths in the sheet. So in here, you know, I go to the custom column, cursor down once, I click enter the X, select it with Control-C, Control-Shift and cursor down will select all the rest, and if you then Control-V will copy the X to the rest of the columns. Pretty much works like in Excel. Step 7 is to fine-tune the selection. You eliminate simply the non-fitting category paths, looking over the list, deleting the X from the custom column. Say you didn't want to have this in the list, you simply, you know, click delete double click here on the X and you delete it. Say we also don't want to have here preventive medicine, double click on it, delete, and so on and so forth. Then step 8, you simply reapply the filter, the X on the custom column to display your final selection. So like this, filter, display, and only want to have the X's. Okay. Now, one thing, if you have a long list, I do recommend that you work offline, that before you do all this, you download the sheet here using this icon here. Work offline, and that way you can then print off the sheet. If you have few, you can just, you know, take in the end, mark the ones, mark your list, and you know, like in any application, you know, simply Control-C to copy, and then you can copy it to wherever you want to use it. Then last point, the list may still be pretty long and you want to have now prioritize within this list and to make a final selection of what you actually want to use and send to Amazon or put in your keywords or put in your book descriptions to get your book into the various categories. The first step you want to do is collapse the view to the category path only using the minus button. So here at the top where you see this button, if you click this, you collapse the view back to category path only, and that way you in the online version you can see and browse here through the data. Then you want to use a filter on the column cluster from our strategy map approach to deselect non-selling categories. So here, go use the filter on cluster, and then you can say, well, I don't, I only want to have hot sells, hot niches. I don't want to have the non-sellers. And since this is a non-fiction category, you will have to have a broad enough selection. Also select slow sell, slow niches, and you can also position it in the mainstream. So click OK here, and this will reduce the list further down. What I then use is sort by the sales to competition ratio in descending order. There are tutorials on what the sales to competition ratio is. Essentially, you go for those categories that have the highest possible sales at the lowest possible level of competition, that is, number of titles. So in this column here, you can again select the filter here and simply go sort descending order. And this will show you the most attractive categories at the top. They may or may not perfectly fit your project, but in this case, gluten-free, so one category here, cookbooks, special diet, healthy, certainly one that's a better one. Paleo, well, not totally, but here, health, fitness, dieting, diseases, physical ailments, that's immune systems. Now, gluten-free has to do with allergy, immune system. It's clearly a hot sell. It only has 776 titles in it. If you scroll here a bit further to the right, you see, well, on average, it's about 3 to 4 copies a day for the top 20, but the top book sells about 30 copies a day. So that's one you could go for. Here, food allergies, food counters, they all fit. And they're not like super categories, but they are okay. So this gives you a pretty good selection. So we expanded from gluten-free diet only to a pretty long selection of possible categories that you can play with and that you can use in your marketing and in your optimization of keywords and book descriptions. So much for now. I hope you liked this tutorial on category selection for non-fiction projects. This is Alex Newton from K-lytics, ebook market intelligence for success.